Manly is a beachside suburb of northern Sydney, Australia. It is 17 kilometres northeast of the Sydney Central Business District and is the administrative centre of the local government area of Manly Council, in the Northern Beaches region. History. Manly was named by Captain Arthur Phillip for the indigenous people living there, stating that their confidence and manly behaviour made me give the name of Manly Cove to this place. These men were of the Kilometres clan. While scouting for fresh water in the area, Philip encountered members of the clan, and after a misunderstanding he was speared in the shoulder by one of the clan. To his lasting credit, the progressively minded Philip ordered his men not to retaliate. In Captain Tench's words, the Aboriginal men were feasting on a whale at Manly Cove and were seen by Captain Nepean, Mr. White, Nanbury and a party of men who had travelled to Manly Cove to walk to Broken Bay. Bennelong and Colby spoke to them and Bennelong asked for Governor Phillip. Captain Nepean sent the boatswain back to Governor Phillip at South Head. The Aboriginal men cut large chunks of whale off and put them in the boat for Governor Phillip. The military party then proceeded on their walk to Broken Bay. When Governor Phillip's party arrived to see the Aboriginal men, they held friendly conversation with Bennelong and Colby for over half an hour. Later an older Aboriginal man appeared with a spear. Captain Tench remarked that he was seemingly a stranger and little acquainted with Bennelong and Colby. The governor moved towards this man and the man became agitated. Governor Phillip threw down his dirk to appease the man, crying out confidently. The spear was thrown and Governor Phillip was hit in the shoulder. All was in confusion. There were calls to bring the muskets. Bennelong and Colby disappeared and Governor Phillip could not make it to the ship because of the length of spear sticking from his shoulder and dragging on the ground. The muskets were brought to shore but only one would fire. The spear was finally broken and all hastened to Port Jackson. Manly had been envisaged as a seaside resort by Henry Gilbert Smith in the 1850s. In 1853 Smith acquired 2 large parcels of land. Initially Smith had chartered a paddle steamer to Manly and other vessels visited on an ad hoc excursion basis. Smith built a wharf in 1855 and eventually acquired an interest in steamers himself and soon more regular services to Manly had commenced. By 1873, Smith had sold the lease to the wharf and his share of the steamers to the operators of the ferries and eventually ownership passed to the once famous Port Jackson and Manly Steamship Company. It was the Port Jackson and Manly Steamship Company which coined the expression about Manly being 7 miles from Sydney and 1,000 miles from Cairns to promote its ferry service. The Port Jackson and Manly Steamship Company played an important part in Manly's development. It built several attractions including a large ocean pool and bathing pavilion, the Manly Fun Pier. In 1972 the company was sold and it is now part of Sydney Ferries. During the 19th and early 20th century Manly was one of Australia's most popular seaside holiday resorts. Manly Beach is said to be the place where the restriction on daylight sea bathing was first challenged in Australia. In October 1902 William Gotcha, clad in a neck-to-knee costume, swam at midday after announcing his intention to do so in the newspaper he had established. After being ignored by authorities and being publicly critical of them, he swam again and was escorted from the water by the police, although no charges were laid. In November 1903, Manly Council resolved to allow all-day bathing provided a neck-to-knee swimming costume was worn. During the first official bathing season in 1903, 17 people drowned on Manly Beach. A year later a surf club was formed on the beach to safeguard the public. While there is debate about which club is the oldest, Manly Life Saving Club is one of the world's first surf life-saving clubs. In 1934, George Robbie, a resident and original Anzac, founded the Air-Mindedness Development League which was later renamed the Australian Air League at Manly. There has been a continuously running squadron in Manly since. Climate, beaches. Manly is most notable for its beaches which are popular tourist destinations. Manly features a long stretch of sand on the ocean side, that runs from Queenscliff Beach to Northstone Beach and Manly Beach. This is followed by rock pools and sandy beaches called Fairy Bar and Shelley Beach. There are also a number of beaches on the harbour side of the peninsula. Norfolk Island pine trees are symbolic of Manly and are a prominent feature of both the ocean and harbour beaches. On March 10, 2012, the 4-kilometre stretch between Freshwater Beach and Shelley Beach was declared the Manly Freshwater World Surfing Reserve. The reserve was dedicated in a ceremony in Manly Beach by World Surfing champion Kelly Slater, accompanied by the Governor of New South Wales, Australia, Her Excellency Professor the Honourable Dame Marie Bashir. Commercial area: the commercial Manly is centred around the Corso, which runs from the harbour side at Manly Wharf to the ocean side at Manly Beach. Part of the Corso is a mall which allows outdoor dining for cafes and restaurants. The commercial area extends to surrounding streets with more cafes and restaurants concentrated along the ocean and harbour shores. Demographics: the most common ancestries of Manly were English 29.4%, Australian 18.3%, Irish 10.4%, Scottish 7.6% and German 3.4%. There is also a significant Scandinavian community in Manly, mostly originating from Denmark and Sweden. Transport services to Manly include a ferry service from Manly Wharf, and bus services to the city and other suburbs. The Manly ferry journey takes 30 minutes and allows for scenic views of Sydney Harbour, surrounding national parks and Sydney icons including the Harbour Bridge and Opera House. The ferry service once advertised Manly as 7 miles from Sydney, and 1,000 miles from Cairns. A privately owned and operated Manly Fast Ferry operates between Manly and Sydney CBD on weekdays, offering transport in 18 minutes. A similar service, the Jet Cat, offered a 15-minute service between Manly and Sydney CBD but has since been cancelled. Housing: high-rise buildings and apartments now line the foreshore. A testament to the high popularity of the area. Since the 1970s and the Concert Manly local political party, high-rise development has been drastically limited and most new beachfront developments are no more than 3 or 4 stories in height. The relaxed lifestyle, beaches and proximity to Sydney City have led to Manly's real estate prices being amongst the highest in Australia. Schools and churches: the former Catholic seminary at St Patrick's Estate, Darley Road, now houses the International College of Management, Sydney, a management college, specialising in business, tourism, hospitality, events, property, sports and marketing retail management. It is affiliated with Macquarie University, which attracts international students from many countries. As well as being an educational hub, many spectacular weddings have been held here, including Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. The original seminary was designed by Hennessy and Sheeran and built in 1885. It was conceived by Archbishop Vaughan and is now listed on the Register of the National Estate. On the other side of Darley Road is the Archbishop's House, also known as the Cardinal's Palace. This building was also designed by Sheeran and Hennessy and built in the 1880s. It was originally conceived as part of St Patrick's Seminary and is a good example of the Victorian Gothic Revival style. It too is listed on the Register of the National Estate. Another notable landmark is the Presbyterian Church in Raglan Street. It was designed by John Sulman in the Romanesque style and built in 1892. It is listed on the Register of the National Estate. The local public school is Manly Village Public School, which is a co-educational school for years K-6 and is located a street away from Manly Beach. The closest secondary school for Manly is Cromer Campus, which is a local co-educational high school for years 7 to 12. The closest selective secondary school is Manly Selective Campus, which caters for years 7 to 12 and is located in the neighbouring suburb of Curl, Recreation. Manly has Sydney Harbour on its western side with calm water, Ferry Wharf, a swimming area, the Ocean World Manly Aquarium, and sailing and yacht clubs. About 300 metres to the east is the Pacific Ocean and Manly Beach. There are more than 20 kilometres of cycle tracks that can be used to explore the area. The Manly International Jazz Festival is Australia's largest community-based jazz festival. It is held during the October long weekend public holiday, with various stages hosting continuous free public performances from midday until early evening. The BBC soap opera Out of the Blue was set in Manly. Sport. National Rugby League team. The Manly Warringah Sea Eagles, who play their home games at Brookvale Oval, are the most famous sports club in the area, who are well known for their grand final appearances, being the only club to appear in grand finals in each decade since the 1950s and the only club to win at least one grand final in each decade since the 1970s. Their fans from the Northern Beaches have a false reputation for being reluctant to cross the Spit Bridge. The rugby union team Manly UFC and soccer team Manly United Soccer Club represent Manly. The Manly Warringah District Cricket Club represent the Northern Beaches. Manly UFC and the MWDCC play at Manly Oval, while Manly United play at Cromer Park. Culture. Numerous non-fiction books about Manly have been written. It has also featured in fiction. In 1987, the British novelist, Leslie Thompson, published 7 Miles from Sydney, a thriller about a female screenwriter who is murdered while jogging on Shelley Beach. This novel was a popular seller in the United Kingdom and well received in Australia. The music video for Red Foo's song Let's Get Ridiculous was filmed on the Corso. Notable locals, well-known people associated with the Manly area include, Boy Charlton, Olympic freestyle swimmer, Bruce Beaver, poet, film, musician, Sylvia Bremer, actress, Roden Cutler, NSW governor and recipient of the Victoria Cross, Melinda Gainsford-Taylor, Olympic sprinter, Thomas Keneally, Man Booker Prize-winning author, John Passmore, philosopher, Kelly Tennant, author, Jack Thompson, actor. See also, Ferry Bower Beach, List of mayors of Manly, Manly Beach, Manly Art Gallery and Museum, Manly Council, Manly Fun Pier, Manly Hospital, Manly Life Saving Club, Port Jackson and Manly Steamship Company, Shelley Beach, Coal Classic. References. External links. Manly Council. A Euro history of each of the streets in Manly local government area. Hello Manly. A Euro official Manly Information Centre website. Manly Daily. A Euro local news online. Manly. A Euro local directory.